So last night was support group, and disruptive person came, so that means that half the support group was just them talking over people. Every time someone says something, this person loves the Whose Life is Worse game. They love, no matter what the subject matter is, no matter what's going on, the attention of, oh yeah, but I have a worse thing in my life. You can't help that person because you're not professional, you're not trained, you don't have the capabilities of helping that person, and that person just needs things to be about them because they're not in an okay state, they're not mentally in a stable position. They need help, but you can't help them, so it's a struggle. But so someone got talked over like after saying like two sentences and just completely disregarded. So at a certain point, our support group leader hadn't slept in 2.5 days and was not really remembering to take charge of the situation at all. So eventually it got to a certain point where I just sort of did and made sure that we got back around to that person who didn't get to talk because they looked so freaking like crestfallen, and they had said something that was upsetting and then immediately got steamrolled. So they seemed surprised that they got to talk again, and I mean, hopefully we helped them, if nothing else, just to feel supported. But yeah, it's frustrating because I've led stuff before. Like I've led support groups, and it's frustrating because the support group's supposed to be about everyone there, and not everyone's there to support one person. But it's a balancing act with stuff like that. It is. Anyway, at support group, I told them all that I was in to the trans system and stuff, and the group leader was like, "We're gonna start one of those here. We're gonna do it." Got all excited about it and stuff, so that was fun. But yeah, they were happy for me or whatever, and I also told them about the dudes that I've been running Mythic Pluses with, and I didn't introduce myself as anything. I just expected them to just, I don't know, accept that I was a guy right off the bat. And they did. Except that my character's name was a little bit girly seeming to one of the guys. So he said she one time, one night, and I was like, "Did you just say she?" And he was like, "Oh, dude, my bad. I'm sorry. It's your character's name. You know, you apologize stuff." Well, then we went just on Tuesday and did some Mythic Pluses, and he called me she again. And this time I didn't have to say nothing. All the other dudes in the group, like, jumped on him, and I don't want to say hazing, but they sort of were hazing him. And it felt good because they were so completely accepting of my masculinity that they thought it was ridiculous that he couldn't get it right. They were like, "Dude, what's your problem?" And he's like, "I keep reading the name." And they're like, "Dude, you know his name." And like, I don't know, it felt good. It felt good. They were like, "Come on, man." You know, it wasn't like they were acting like he was a complete idiot, but they were definitely, you know, it felt good to have that kind of thing. I felt like, I don't know, I was one of the bros, which always feels good. My girlfriend, I told my therapist, you know, all this stuff, obviously, but, you know, my girlfriend was like, you know, you act a little different around certain people, lately and stuff, and that overall I've been changing some, and she wanted to make sure if I was like doing it because I was feeling more insecure or less insecure. And I realized that I used to act like this all the time, but it's been a long time. I haven't felt like I was part of a bro group or whatever for a very long time, like years and years. I've been hanging around girls so much that I haven't had that kind of peer group, and I used to more. I miss that. I miss that. And I like that. I feel more comfortable and confident, and there's less like pressure when it's like that. And I think that's part of why it upsets me so much that I don't pass right now, is because the one thing that's made it an issue, me being part of those groups before, was that I was a girl. And some of the bro groups just would accept me as a dyke or whatever in the past, or sometimes they would just get used to me being around, like if it was like my brother and their brothers and their friends and stuff. Some of them would just get used to it and just, accept that I was going to be there and stuff. And I was going to act that way. And then sometimes, I'd go to like, I don't know, punch a guy's arm or something, and the guy would just look at me in absolute shock and confusion, like, what are you doing? Because I wasn't allowed to do that, because stupid stereotypes or whatever. And it's like, if it was a guy hanging out with another guy, it would have been fine. But because it was a girl doing it, there was like this shunning or something. And I'm going to be able to just hang out and be one of the dudes. And the thing is I didn't think that I would get that at all until after I'd been on testosterone for at least 5 months. And instead, it's already happening some, which is very good feeling. Like, it feels really, really good. It feels rewarding. The Guild Wars 2 guild, I'm pretty sure they're to the point where they just accept me as a guy. And I'm pretty sure that most of the things that I was worried about them questioning it was in my head, and me just being, dysphoric. And then, like, this other group of dudes, like, they aren't in my guild in World of Warcraft. I was just doing Mythic Pluses with them, and it was, like, completely natural and went great. The only thing that I do differently is be less tiptoey. I'm always very cautious around girls, trying to be sensitive and to build them up and compliment them lots, but not too much or else it'll come across as creepy. But like, make them feel good about themselves and watch out for moods. And I'm very hyper vigilant, and I know that part of that comes from growing up around my birth mother, and part of that comes from caring and, like, when I was younger, especially having a crush on half the girls I met. Like, I always have cared about women. So it's more important to, like, pay attention to how they're feeling and what's going on with them, and are they getting fair treatment and stuff like that. But with the guys, there's like this, once I get past the insecurity from dysphoria of, oh no, do I pass? Once I get past that, it's like completely like whatever. It's actually very comfortable and like fun to just sort of roughhouse and be chill. I like it, but I haven't had that in so freaking long. Like, so long. So it's, I don't know, it's good. But the only other thing I have to do besides not worrying about it is I do talk in a deeper voice more like this, And I realize this still doesn't come across as a super masculine voice, but this is just the deeper register that I talk in, so whatever. Uh, I mean, I'm gonna get way deeper than this when I am on testosterone. My voice is already pretty deep, so I could definitely end up with an Adam's apple, which is actually very exciting. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I just talk a little deeper. Uh, haven't had any issues. I can't do that with the guilds, in World of Warcraft that I'm an officer in, because they've all known me for a year or longer. Some of them have known me for more than 15 years, like some of them have known me my whole life, like my brother. But, it's like, I don't know. It's nice to feel accepted sometimes and to not have to convince people to accept you. That they just are like, whatever, I accept you. You're a cool person. Like, why can't it just be good enough that we're cool people? But I didn't think I had brought it up yet. And it felt good. And I didn't feel compelled to, like, let these guys know that I was trans or anything. I didn't feel like I needed to put out the little soapbox and, tell them to be mindful of trans folks and trans issues and stuff. It was nice just to be there, relaxed, and not have to think about stuff like that. And I realize that's not appropriate in every situation, but it was nice. I am looking forward to starting transitioning so much. I am not looking forward to the doctor part still, but there's going to be a lot less doctor parts than I thought there was going to be, so that's exciting, because I thought that I was going to have to see the doctor, like, in person, and it's going to be video chats for the most part, and I thought that I was going to have to do a whole bunch of other testing or something, when really it's mostly just labs, which I ain't scared of needles, go ahead. The only problem with that is my blood gonna be good enough that you can get some out because of my stupid anemia? But whatever. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And just like settling in and being comfortable. It's so strange to have moments where I feel semi-comfortable, because the entirety of my lifetime has been me being in discomfort. And it's like crazy the difference it makes. Everyone needs breaks. And I need breaks from dysphoria. And I'm getting them for the first time in my life, and it's amazing. Spent a lifetime just doing the bare minimum toward my masculinity so I could survive and I could get through and I could just exist. And now I'm not settling for just the bare minimum. Now I'm like, you know what? We're going all the way. And that makes life better. I'm doing a big giant event in the guild today with a bunch of the officers and stuff and everything. But after that, I really won't have much of a reason to log into World of Warcraft until pre-patch. Like, I've got my mounts that are going away forever. I will obviously still log in to run people to the Edge of the Curve mount and to Jaina mount, but other than that, there's like nothing really going on there. So I'm glad today an event's starting in ESO, and Guild Wars 2 has been fun, and World vs. Worlding every night with the other guild has been fun. And oh my gosh, I know like only a couple people watch this, and maybe none of you play Guild Wars 2. But if you do, go get that anniversary Dropbox thing that gives you stuff every week, do it. The freaking Warclaw mount from the set that's not out yet for the mount adoptions. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's like the best mount skin. And I like have a favorite mount skin for each type of mount, but that what is it? Vital Geode or whatever it's called, Warclaw. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. And the way that the dye colors come off, and then the stuff that comes off the back of it. Like, I've got one that looks like an ocean wave, and I've got another one that looks like, it's made of ice, and then I've got another one that looks like it's like, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a green moss colors going up into like vibrant blue, and then I have like a red and black one where it looks all evil and crap and like dastardly. And I've got, these different mounts and colorations, and each variant that I've seen on other players. I love them all. So whatever. I I don't know. I'm glad that I'm having fun, and I'm glad that we decided to go ahead and add Guild Wars 2 to the roster because we hadn't played Guild Wars 2 in a long time. And I'm actually having the most fun on that game. Although, admittedly, part of it's because World versus Worlding is fun. But also, just generally having fun on it. That doesn't mean I'm not looking forward to Shadowlands. It just, I don't know. Shadowlands, they're doing these little video things to get you hyped up for it, right? And they did that with BFA. Big deal. Not a big deal. But with the BFA ones, they were much cooler and much more interesting. There was the cliffhanger of who set Teldrassil on fire, although everyone knew Sylvanas did it. But there was also the Jaina one, which was so well done with the like sea shanty and crap. The two that have come out so far is Uther like being like angsty and then demanding like that vengeance is really just justice, and like going back and forth between crying over his student and clutching his chest and then I'm rid of you and throwing away people. And then the second one, I mean, the first one, it felt like they were like not giving Uther as much strong moral character as he had in life. But in the second one, Draka was a berserkin warrior, badass, awesome woman. Like, she was strong, she was amazing, and then she is thrown into Maldraxxus and becomes like a little underling servant person who turns into a rogue and is obsessed with one house over a whole bunch of other houses. I mean, maybe slightly that is understandable because, the orcs have the different clans and you're loyal to your clan. So maybe that part makes more sense. But the going from this strong bestial warrior woman who just would face an army head on to, oh, now I need to sneak around and be stealthy, doesn't make sense to me at all. And then her being like all servy, like serving these houses. It's one thing to be loyal, but to be an underling in them doesn't make sense to me. She's like, oh my lord. And it's like, Draka would not have ever in her lifetime called anyone her lord. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not really, like, feeling the Shadowlands vibe right now. As a lore buff, the Horde has no war chief, it has a council. Anduin is still being led around like a freaking milk-sawed calf by freaking Greymane, and he's just a figurehead. He hasn't come into his own at all as a leader, and yet he's supposed to go into the afterlife and like save the world. He did a pretty shitty job of it thus far. He is being run by other people, by Jaina and Greymane and stuff. He's not actually running himself. He's not his own man, which I understand. He's got to grow into that, but still, it feels very... I don't like where the story is at, and I don't like where the story is going thus far. Like, it doesn't make sense to me for solid character growth for any of these characters. And especially Uther. Uther didn't really need much character growth. He is the guy who helps other people grow in character. And yet they made him so angsty. I don't know what other word to use for it. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. Sorry if that was spoilers. I just suddenly realized that might have been spoilers for someone who hadn't watched it yet. Anyway, whatever. I got a lot to do today. But one of the things I am doing today is exercise. Yes. Yay, exercise. I mean, some people, they're like, drag my feet. I don't want to exercise. And me, I'm like, I have time to exercise. Yes! So, to each their own.